Season 1 was about transformation, realizing you can love your life and break free from stories that held you back. Now, in Season 2, we're stepping in a new frequency. What transformation looks like in real life. The messy middle. The real, raw conversations. If you're ready to live your truth, let's talk. Welcome to Jessica Javens Talk. We are in season 2, and we have an amazing line of guests this season. We're going bold, deeper, and intimate. And this guest is ready to share as much as possible with you so you can really know what he went through and you can resonate, you can connect. But not just that. You are also empowered to share this with others so they can also be inspired to live a life they love. And that's my message to you today. So I would like to welcome here, first of all, Jose Arez. Thank you so much for coming in today. I'm excited to be with you.
Well, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure just being on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Jose has a very busy schedule, a big family, so I'm very happy that he made this time. By the way, social media is so important, guys. I met him through LinkedIn. And I was impressed by his story, and we connected so well, and I'm sure that you're gonna love it. So stick with us until the end. Let me tell you a little bit about Jose. You probably know his name, but here you go. Jose was a professional baseball player for almost 20 years here in the United States. And then around the year 2000, he went into the real estate industry and he became a millionaire, very successful in 2 different careers. Recently, in the last 5 years or so, he dove in deeply into self-discovery. He read 290 books in 5 years, which is like, wow. How about investing in you? He also was a Toastmaster public speaker, director. He also has a clothing line and so much more. It keeps going, guys. I can't wait for him to dive in deeper. So, Jose, let's start a little bit here with the beginning of your career. How was this? How was your career when you started for the first almost 20 years being a professional baseball? How did that feel? How was that like?
Well, playing baseball was my dream ever since I was a little kid. So it, and you're saying I was playing baseball since I was like 8 years old. So it was a career of baseball, and that's all I knew, and that's all I wanted. I ate, drank, slept baseball, watched every game, went to games. At that time, we didn't even have the Marlins here in Miami, so we had I would like the Atlanta Braves or the Chicago Cubs just because it was like some another team that I could follow. But having that dream really helped me through, I think, life. Just going through the trials and tribulations of the actual baseball journey. You're failing 7 out of 10 times, and you're considered a one of the best players on the team if you could do that. Just an average of 300, uh, average of batting for 300. So it's a failure sport. So you need to figure out how to get up faster than you just got knocked down, because you're getting hit left and right, and that's the biggest problem when you're a baseball player. But when you are a baseball player, it helps you now to the business side of it. You know you're going to get knocked down. You know things are not going to go your way. And today you have a great day, and tomorrow it's like out of left field, something happens. What happened? There's a problem. You need to fix it. You have to become a problem solver at that point. So I've become a problem solver. My wife calls me a firefighter, because if there's a fire, I will go and I'll be the first one to turn off the flames. So I guess controversy and getting knocked down has helped me, and baseball has helped me get back up.
You know, it's amazing. Talking to athletes like this is where I see where people are pulled to the extreme. And for you to be successful at that, on top of it, it's like you're one of the few that had to really go way beyond probably your capacity of knowing how much that you could actually handle to get there. How, tell me a situation, how hard it was, a little bit more specific, maybe something that really stuck to you that you'd like to share with your audience, you know, or with people who you're inspiring about that time of your career before we go to your next.
So, so let's back to baseball, and I'll bring it around to business. You're in baseball, you're not always going to be on the team with people that like you, or you might not like them. One in one of the situations, I went to a team. The team was a really good team, and I just stood out. And it was when you're a baseball player here in Miami, you kind of have like a different style, and you throw the ball a different way. And I don't know, maybe it's the salsa that I know dancing or something, but it didn't really go well with the coaches. They thought I was trying to showboat, and little by little, I was able to to show them that that's just the way I was. I was humble. I was just a good player, but I was not showboating, and I was able to maneuver that bad situation and make it a positive. It was hard. It was hard. I was trying to get back on my feet, getting on the team, but it really was a problem having them think that you weren't the person that you really are. I never drank, smoked, did anything. I was just baseball, gym, school. That's it. So turning it back to business, you're when you're in business, that same thing could happen. So when you get into business, things are going to happen. People are not going to like you for some reason. You might think that you're doing a great job, and you're like wondering, why is this guy like not wanting to like do business with me, or why do they not answer my calls? And it's just, you got to figure it out. You got to keep you know uh, going and hitting it hard, trying to get the person's attention. It's that you want to work with them, and you got to figure out how to work together. If you want to work with somebody that you might not get along, but if you make money, that's the key to it.
It's not easy to navigate that. You know, I we talked earlier, and I'm a people pleaser, and that's a challenge. It's not easy to be a people
Yeah.
pleaser because you're talking about yourself. You're talking about being super critical about the results, and maybe people not liking you, or people not, you know. So it's very important to be self aware, so then you can start learning how to navigate that. It took me years to learn how to navigate that, and you started learning that way back then, which is awesome. Now let's jump in a little further now, where you start with your real estate business. So tell me a little bit about that, because today we're talking about being brutally honest, defining what transformation, what you manifested in your life. So share your take on that part of your life.
In the early 2000s, I started as a mortgage loan or broker. I first had my license to do life insurance and health insurance, and then I was doing really well in that space. But a friend of mine told me, "Hey, try mortgages. It's a really good spot to be in." And long story short, I jumped in head first. I started doing so well that I became the top producer in the mortgage company that I was in. They didn't get there wasn't enough space for me to grow with them, and so I had to open up my own shop. And doing so, I was able to open that shop, have an office here in Miami, had one in St. Augustine. I had about 25 different loan officers that worked for me, and life was good. Things were good. I don't know. It was everything that I touched turned to gold.
Wow,
And
that's
then
amazing. And from
and
the
then we
other
got into
career, yeah, and from the other
yeah.
career to this one, like
Well,
that's amazing. But how did
yeah.
that completely change?
Well, once you're so everybody knows about 2008, 2009. You have the financial crisis hits, and I had everything into that one field. I had everything into real estate. We were trying to build. a 5,000 acre parcel somewhere here in Florida. We had huge and big dreams, and when that crash hit, all our dreams went, downhill at that point. And so I was at one point. I remember I was getting I was getting foreclosed on my property that I lived on the beach in a high rise. I was getting foreclosed there. I had 20 other properties that were getting foreclosed, and I had one property to just stick with. And it's still the property I have today. And that property I stayed in there. And I remember sitting in my house, $20 in my pocket. I don't know. It's a Monday. I don't know what's gonna happen the rest of the week. I don't know. I don't have any money. There's nowhere to go. I have no idea where money's gonna come from. And it just came out of thin air. I started making money, but it was just to have $20 and not know where the next dollar is going to come from is scary. It's scary, and from making $1 million to having $20 in your pocket, it's a big hit. And I don't know how I was able to navigate that whole depression part of my life, because it was just hard to deal with, especially when I had the cars, I had the houses, I had everything, boats and everything, and then from one day to the next you lose it all, which it happens to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, um, you need to be prepared. Now I try to diversify, and I have more than one source of income coming in.
That's a good
I do
lesson.
not ever want that to happen to me.
Now, something happened to you, just not financially, but that affected you mentally, right? Emotionally.
Oh
Tell
yeah,
us about
absolutely,
that.
absolutely. I was hiding that. You're you different people deal with stress different ways, and my relief was going out every day to party, and I started drinking. I never drank in my life. Like I told you before, all I did was I didn't even like to drink, and it turned me into starting to drink, go out every day. It was just party the whole night, sleep the whole day, and keep that going every day. And it was just one of those cycles that you're happy, you think you're happy, but in reality you're just dealing with it the only way you know how to. And my way was that way, the party, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, and that's what eventually you get people into your life that are good, and that it's like birds of a feather flock together. If you hang out with the bad people, you're going to become a bad person. And I didn't really believe in that, but it's 100% true. And once I met my wife, I was able to turn that thing around, and she motivates me to get better. Absolutely.
Yes, and we're going to go back to that in just a second, but I know that
Yeah.
for a while when you started feeling depressed and you try to
Hmm.
find help, you actually went to the partying for a while and the drinking and so forth. And at the same time, you were also hanging out with the wrong crowd.
Oh
So,
yeah.
as I remember correctly, so you were actually needing to be in the right crowd for a while, but no. So that played what part in your life? Like, tell us, how did that complicate things until life changed again for the better for you?
And when we were I was just trying to figure things out at that point, trying to figure out. I would I am I don't go to the church every day or anything, or every weekend like most of the people, but I I would go, I would walk into church. I remember, and I would go. There's a church right by my house, Little Flower, and you could go there at any time, any day of the week. And I remember walking into the church and praying, and help me, get back on my feet, help me with all these struggles that I'm having. But it was something that I had to go through in order to become the person that I am today. And there was a lot of struggles between the drinking, the the partying, and it's like a daze. It's a daze. You're going through the motions basically a day at a time, and and you try to like hide it with what you're doing, which the drinking and the partying. So you're hiding that, and it's building, and you think it's not, and you think that you're invincible, but it really hits hard, and it hit mostly too, like just financially, because I went from money to no money, and then it's been a struggle trying to get back to that space again. So
So,
but when you learn those hard lessons.
so tell me about being brutally honest, because you were kind of sugarcoating, or people around you were sugarcoating. We talked
What I
about
was
that,
really
right? So tell me about being brutally honest. How did that look like for you?
man, I mean, being brutally honest, I mean, um there's a lot of things that you got to work through, that, for instance, like myself, I didn't think I had a problem, and I didn't think that going I didn't think that it was a bad thing for me to hang out with the people that are going out every day, and doing, just not doing much, not no education, no self education. I would always read books, and I wasn't reading books. I wasn't doing anything to try to get better, and you really learn from that, from those hard times, that you need to you need to try to see what's wrong, and say, oh, well, this is going wrong, I need to fix it. But when you're in it, I guess you don't see it.
Do you
That's
think
the
it was
that's the biggest
because,
problem.
Jose, do you think that it was because you didn't want to face it, or were you embarrassed?
I think it was probably both. You're embarrassed, like, I would, I thought I was up here, and I was doing so well, and I wouldn't, and it was embarrassing for me to like do a job that was less than what I was doing before. So
Mm-hmm.
if I had to go cut grass, I wasn't going to go cut grass. I wasn't going to go do these things that I should have been doing. And I say grass, but anything, any of those, maybe jobs that maybe pay less, but they're going to get some food on your table. And I wouldn't do that. I was embarrassed because I thought I was better than that. And I was hiding behind the drinks and behind everything that I was doing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, that there was a problem. I was just hiding it, and I didn't tell anybody about it either. So it wasn't like I was telling somebody, "Oh, I lost all this money. I feel bad." No, I didn't do any of that. I tried to keep it to myself, and then you start. It affects you at that point, because you feel like a different person.
Absolutely. So, how long did it take you to start realizing that that mask, or that sugarcoating, or that pride, you had to still hold on until you couldn't anymore?
I think it was, I started. I say 10 years after I lost it all. I had a 10-year span of just not knowing where I was going.
That's
I
pretty
was
long.
I was a ship without a rudder. I had no roadmap to any place. It was just I was just lost. I was lost. It wasn't, until I met my wife, that she got me back on track. She's the one that was the person that pushed me, and she doesn't say anything to push me to do it. It's just the way she does it, and maybe that's how it works. She'll, like, I'll give you an example of like
Mhm.
something silly, but Um, I would drink. I would wake up drinking Coca Cola, a Coke in my hand. I would not drink water ever, and I would not eat any vegetables, anything. Like I just had this thing of bad diet. Even though I mean I was in shape, I didn't eat well, but she would just little by little start giving me some advice in a way that would kind of like tell me, hey, look, you shouldn't do that. And now I don't drink Coke at all. So I've gotten off that completely, which I was completely addicted to Coke. I would literally drink a Coke from waking up to going to sleep, and
Wow.
it didn't matter how much caffeine you had in there. So, but so my wife has been the real star of me transforming myself, because you need to have somebody there to help you out. In reality, you can't do it by yourself. They say having a strong spouse will be the biggest difference in your life, and I agree that's one of the things that has helped me has been my wife.
That's amazing. Tell us a little bit about how important it is to have the right people at your side versus the wrong ones who apparently your friends. They were hanging out with you, partying with you, seemed to be, and the difference between somebody like you, like your wife, that was probably not the one going to parties with you and all of that stuff, but she was doing other things. So tell us a little bit about the difference so people can actually see the difference between people who really care about you, who really can make an impact and help you elevate in life and become your better version, versus somebody who seems to be very friendly but is not a good fit for you and for who you want to become.
Hold on, it broke up. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. So
Oh, okay. Sorry, you were like frozen, and I couldn't hear.
that's
I
okay.
couldn't hear at that point.
That's
Sorry.
totally fine. That's part of us and the technology today. So tell us, Jose,
Yeah.
how was it for you to actually see the difference between the friends who were with you for years, partying and seemed to be good friends and having a great time with you there and laughing and all of that stuff, versus somebody now who probably doesn't go partying with you, probably doesn't go there and say, yeah, let's drink, let's have more, whatever. But on the other hand, was the one who actually helped you to become the person who you wanted to become, the better version of yourself. Tell us how you saw that difference, because many times we don't know the difference between having the right support system and the wrong support system.
But the wrong support system is obviously people that are not trying to benefit you in any way. You're at that point, I'm not saying that any of the people were bad people, that I would hang out with, but the difference is that they had a different mindset. So did I. We were, go out, and have fun, but what are you doing to better yourself? You're not doing any of that. And then you're in the nightlife, you're not you're not meeting the right people either. So I did, at that point, what I would do is, in order for me to go out and have all these nights going out and basically not really working, I would hustle, doing other things. But the main income that would come in is that I would basically invite a bunch of people to the club, and then we would drink, and I would get paid for socializing. Is basically what would happen, and it's a different crowd. Once it's 3, 4, 5 in the morning, and you're still out, you're you're not yourself. So that's the worst part about it. Now, the difference is my wife, she comes in and she's telling me things to do, and and helping me try to guide me to the right um to the right area in life. So, for instance, I didn't really have anything at when we first met, my wife and I, where I was just partying, and um, I decided I was doing mobile apps and websites, and I learned how to do that online, and I taught myself how to design. So my wife kind of told me, "Hey, you don't want to try to do make a t-shirt company, and you know a lot of people, you could promote yourself." And then so that's the difference. You have somebody that's telling you, "Hey, let's open a business, let's do this to make money," and then you have the other side saying, "Hey, let's just go out and spend the money." So you're like, "Okay, what do I do here? Do I go with the money? Do I not go with the money?" So then she was the one that's pushing me, open the company, let's open the company. And my wife was making, she was selling luxury watches. My wife was very successful in the luxury watch space, and so she's like, "Look, you need to do something, to work, to make money." And so I opened up that t-shirt company, which is the company that I have still today. Me and her own the company, and we've been 11 years openers, 10 years open as a successful printing company. So the difference is you have one that's looking out for you and then trying to make you better. The other ones are not. The other ones are trying to take advantage of you. And I'll give you an example of taking advantage. I go to a club. I get a comped bottle. The comp bottle is like a $500 bottle. I get it. Just I gotta pay tip. So I would most of the time have to take it out of my pocket. I only had a handful of friends that would actually take their money out of their pockets and say, "Here, here's the tip. I'm drinking for free with you the whole night with all these friends. I'm gonna pay the tip." I never, and then you start seeing now, okay, I only have a few friends. Those friends are still friends of mine now, but there's other friends that were the ones that were leeching off me, not bringing a dollar. And so, of course, you start seeing, look out for the person that looks out for you. If you're hooking somebody up, they should try to like take care of you, but that doesn't happen all the time. And I'm a pleaser as well, like, and I know you just mentioned that you're a pleaser, and that's why I did good at promoting, because I would bring a bunch of people together, and we would have a good time, and I would socialize with everybody. But you see what type of characters come into that scenery, and there's a lot of bad that comes in. There's a lot of there's you know there's drug dealers that you meet. Like, these people are spending thousands of dollars, on tables, and you're like, where are these people getting this money? This guy doesn't even work. But it was like that type of stuff. So you're not meeting a business guy that's selling real estate and he's a billionaire. No, you're not meeting that guy. You're meeting the druggie or the drug dealer, or something in between. And I'm not saying everybody is, but just there's you tend to find those people around, and so that's the biggest difference. One person's helping you, and the other person's taking advantage of you.
Do you think
So
that
that's
you,
what I
yeah. Do you think that you had to have a notion of, or self awareness at this point to see the difference when she came along?
yeah, you start like self-doubting, or kind of like, what's that saying? Like pushing it under the rug or whatever. No, that you're trying to ignore that all those bad things that come with what you're doing. You don't want to make yourself feel bad. You're like, "Oh, I'm a piece of crap. I don't do anything. I sleep the whole day. I party at night. You don't want to hear it."
Right.
And that's where you asked me a question. How do you have your real transformation? You're like, what are
Mm-hmm.
your three things that help
Thank
you
you.
and have helped you with true transformation? And those three things are, that I've saw firsthand that you need, is first, how to be brutally honest with yourself, how you could literally um, analyze your situation, and say, man, I could be doing so much better. Not, not, don't sugarcoat it and think, oh man, I'm nothing is, I'm doing so great. No, you're not. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, how good am I? Am I doing good or not? No, well, change it. Just change it. The other thing that I tell you, so there's three things. The second thing I would say would be, consistency. How consistent can you get? How can do the good thing every single day, even if it's one thing. Like they say, make your bed in the morning. Okay, make your bed in the morning. That's your first accomplishment of the day. Make your bed. There's a lot of these things that were taught to me at one point, but I got sucked into this hole that I started forgetting all of these things that I used to do. I used to forget why I was successful, and I might have been smarter than anybody else, but I had the baseball attitude, the baseball mentality, and that helped me through it. So consistency for sure is the second one, and an accountability partner is what you really need. You need that person to come up to you and say, "You suck today,
That's
and this
awesome.
is why you suck today." And I hate it. I hate it.
Of
I'm telling
course.
you that I get mad. But and my accountability partner is my wife, and she tells me straight up, and I get mad. I'm like, I get mad. I could be doing so much more, but and I might not say anything at the moment. She's like, but why aren't you saying nothing? Why aren't you getting mad? Inside my brain, I'm already thinking, what the hell am I doing? And how do I fix this? What do I do? So, being accountable, an
Hmm.
accountability partner is huge. And some people don't have your wife. They might have a best friend. They
Yeah.
might have to get a coach and have a coach, coach them, because no business, no team. Why do you have a coach? You need them. You
Yep.
can't do it on your own.
I love that you
They
said
see
that
things
several
that you don't
times
see.
today. We cannot do it alone. I totally agree with that. That's awesome. Those three key points are amazing that people that are listening to us right now, Jose, can understand that they need to put that effort in. And there is no escape. The escape is a delay. Of course, sometimes we have to go through it like you did, and you recognize that today, which is awesome. I also know that you have a lot going on for you right now. I'm very proud of everything that you were able to do and come out of that 10-year span like that. And now have a beautiful, gorgeous family that you probably always dreamed of, and you have that now, which is so inspirational, especially for people who might not have that yet or are looking to maybe get the right partner. That does exist. So thank you for inspiring us on that. Now, share with us how people can actually contact you.
Can I say
Yeah.
something on that?
Yeah.
Can I say something really quick
Yeah.
about that? So you're talking about um, your the partner, having your partner, right? And finding that right partner, having that family. Well, I started my family at my first kid at 48 years old. So for those guys that think, oh, I'm too old to do this, I can't have kids, that time has passed, you know, get that out of your mind, get that out of your head. You have enough time. You could be as young as you want to be, but you need to make sure that your mindset is there. And that's the problem when people think, and I have a lot of friends that come up to me and say, hey, well, when did you start having your kids? I maybe I tell them, look, it's all about finding the right person, and then visualize who it is you want. I honestly visualize. I wanted a girl with black hair because I like black hair. I don't know why, but I like black hair, and she had to have, a good body with, something in the rear. That's what I like. I'm sorry to be,
No,
I
that's
didn't know
what
how
we're
to say
being
it,
here.
nice.
Intimate and bold and raw. Go on.
So I honestly was that's who I put in my vision. That's who I put in the universe. That's who I want, and I got what I wanted. And after having found that right person, then having the kids really made things. It changed perspective on your whole life.
Right.
How
And you
your
were ready
kids
for it.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm not a little kid doing it. And I just see it is so hard for you to raise a family at 20 years old. You don't have a mindset
No.
to have those kids. I am a way better father right now than if I would have had kids when I was young. So that's another thing I want you, to tell every father out there that it's not too late. And it's the older you get, the better it gets. It's not like, oh, you're gonna be 50 something years old. You're gonna be a cripple, trying to run after your kids. No, I don't think so. I'm gonna stay as fit as I want to stay fit, and it's all in my mind. So
I
if
love that.
you think you're old, you're gonna be old.
I
If
love
you
that.
you think you're young, you're gonna be young.
Yep.
So I think that's the biggest problem that people have when it comes to having kids and thinking that, and I'm talking to a lot of the guys, it's not too late. I have a friend of mine, he's turning 48 now. He's just got married. He is having a panic attack. So relax. You're everything you wanted to do, you did. All your friends have kids. Perfect. You weren't ready for him. You're ready for him now. God gives you what you need when you need them,
And now
or
you're a
when you
good,
want them, or when you're right.
yes. And you inspire so many
So
people, and you're such a good friend now because of everything you've been through. Now, I know you have a lot going on for you now and next in your life, and I want people to be able to actually get to know you a little bit more and see what you're offering. So
yeah.
how can they reach you?
Yeah, so you could. I'm in the lending business. I changed my screen name. I'm called Moneyman T Arez now on the internet. So you could reach me there on all social platforms. And if you need any help with any business ideas, problems, I've pretty much probably ran into them. I'm an open book. I'll give you whatever it is that you need to help you, because my thing is helping others. The more I help, the more comes back to me. So you could contact me, give me your problems, and I'll help you solve them. No strings attached. I don't want money for it. I want to help others, and that's my goal.
Thank you so
So
much.
that's where you could reach me. Yeah,
Thank you
of
so
course.
much.
No,
That's why Jose is in the show today, guys. He's an amazing person, amazing husband, amazing father, amazing friend. And you guys have to go and check him out further. And also do your part in making sure you're sharing this episode to all the fathers over there, or the men who actually are going through a phase in their life that they have to come out of, so they can touch and reach that full potential that all of us have inside of us. Thank you for coming in, Jose. You are awesome. This is Jessica Javens Talk, which is a podcast brought by the IamBeastNetwork.com and brought by Forever Living, the aloe vera juice that changed my wellness, and my brother's new bar in Fort Lauderdale. Jose, you have to go visit. It's called Through the Vine. He's a sommelier, and the place is booming. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe and follow me for more. See you on the next episode.